Welcome to today's Explainer. So today we're going to unpack what is arguably one of the most enduring, not to mention chilling, mysteries of the modern age. We are talking about a place that's completely captured the world's imagination for decades now. You know the one? That notorious patch of ocean famous for making massive ships and high-flying aircraft just vanish into thin air. I'm talking, of course, about the Bermuda Triangle. In this Explainer, we're going to break down the legend, dig into some of the wildest theories out there, and ultimately see what happens when we shine the cold, hard light of data onto this absolutely terrifying maritime myth. Okay, let's dive into this. For generations, people have been absolutely obsessed with the stories coming out of this specific region out in the Sargasso Sea. You hear about these completely inexplicable vanishings, and you naturally have to ask, what is actually happening out there? Are there mysterious, unseen forces at play, or is there maybe a much simpler explanation lurking just beneath the surface of all these legends?
Section 1. Defining the area. The Bermuda Triangle.
Now, it's important to realize this isn't just some vague, poorly defined area out in the middle of nowhere. It's actually a highly specific maritime region located in the Sargasso Sea. The actual triangle is formed by drawing imaginary lines between three very distinct points. You've got Bermuda up to the north, Miami over the west, and San Juan down to the south. So this specific zone right here is the stage where all of these mysterious events supposedly take place.
Moving on to Section 2. A century of loss. Known disappearances.
The whole lore of the Bermuda Triangle is really built on this chronological stack of massive, completely unexplained losses. Perhaps the most famous incident of them all went down in 1945. Basically, 5 U.S. military planes went out for what was supposed to be a totally routine training flight, and they vanished. I mean, without leaving a single sign behind. No debris, no survivors. Literally nothing. Then, mid-century, you have the vanishing of a commercial plane with 32 people on board, totally lost while en route to Miami. And you know, we aren't just talking about delicate aircraft here. The Triangle is also blamed for the disappearance of a large cargo ship late in the century, lost along with its incredibly large crew of 300 people. These weren't just statistics on a page, these were monumental, truly terrifying events. And when you zoom out and look at the sheer scale of this legend, the numbers are honestly staggering. We're talking about almost 100 unexplained disappearances in this specific area over the course of the 20th century. Almost 100. However, as we look a bit closer at that number, there's a really critical caveat we've got to keep in mind. While the legend claims 100 vanished vessels, a lot of these disappearances are, well, actually entirely unconfirmed. But still, the myth spread like wildfire, and people naturally demanded answers. Section 3. Theories and Myths. Methane, Weather, and Aliens. And this brilliantly illustrates just how desperate people were for an explanation, because they've proposed a wide and frankly sometimes wild spectrum of theories. On the more scientific end of things, some folks point to severe weather phenomena, like those incredibly strong hurricanes that frequently batter this part of the ocean. Then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have theories suggesting extraterrestrial activity. Yeah, literal aliens abducting human craft. No way, right? But somewhere in the middle is this really fascinating, science-based theory that's actually gained a lot of traction over the years, the methane hydrate bubble theory. So here is exactly how this methane theory works, step by step. First up, methane hydrate decomposes deep, deep down on the ocean floor. Second, this decomposition forms these massively large gas bubbles that rapidly shoot right up to the ocean's surface. And finally, if a ship happens to be passing over that exact spot at that exact moment, the water density just completely drops out from under it. These bubbles literally swallow and sink the passing ship without a single trace. I mean, it's a completely terrifying thought, but it theoretically explains exactly how a massive cargo vessel could just disappear so suddenly.
But actually, let's just pause for a second. Let's do some math. We've talked about all the spooky legends, the unconfirmed numbers, and all those wild theories ranging from alien abductions to giant gas bubbles. But what happens if we step away from all the suspenseful folklore and actually look at the cold, hard numbers?
Section 4. The statistical reality. Looking at the data. Think about it like this. If you were to take a map right now and rigorously plot every single known plane crash and shipwreck that has occurred out there over the past 100 years, a completely new picture of the Bermuda Triangle emerges. We're talking about a full century of objective, verifiable data here. Now, what's really interesting about this is what happens when you contrast the myth against the concrete reality. The perceived threat is that the Bermuda Triangle is, some sort of supernatural vortex where ships and planes inexplicably vanish at this terrifyingly alarming rate. But the statistical reality? It actually tells a remarkably mundane story. When you factor in the sheer volume of ships and planes moving through this specific area between Miami, Bermuda, and San Juan, the accident rate perfectly matches normal global patterns. Seriously, the incident frequency is entirely normal for the heavy maritime traffic volume in that zone. So, the crucial point is that the data analysis leads us to one definitive conclusion. To quote the findings directly, the incidents in the Bermuda Triangle are not out of the normal and nothing extraordinary. It's like a magic trick in reverse. When viewed through a modern statistical lens, the anomaly itself simply disappears. The area isn't extraordinarily dangerous, it's just extraordinarily well-traveled. And historically speaking, accidents happen where traffic happens. It's really that simple. It is absolutely amazing how a few highly publicized tragic events, like those vanished planes back in 1945, can snowball into a massive global legend about a supernatural vortex. And it all happened just because we didn't stop to look at the baseline statistics. It really makes you think about how we process information on a daily basis. So I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on today. What other modern myths do you believe without checking the math? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I highly encourage you to keep questioning, keep learning, and always remember to check the data.